I'm Mitch Slatt, a sales engineer at Opsera. I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes or so showing how to register CI/CD tools in Opsera. This is the first video of a series that's going to walk through setting up a code-to-cloud capability in our platform. The modern DevOps landscape includes a ton of really great tools. These tools are powerful and mature, and we love them. There is friction associated with relying on multiple tools, though. Opsera is a cloud-native, unified DevOps platform that minimizes that friction and brings DevOps best practices to all of your software delivery processes. In this series, we're going to walk through setting up DevOps deployment pattern for a fictitious business unit that maintains a portfolio of node code-based microservices called fulfillment. We're going to start in this video by registering the tools that will support the fulfillment DevOps automation. So first, we'll log into the portal. As part of our onboarding process, we'll configure SSO so that you can manage portal access through your current IDP. We're going to put in our username, and then we are going to put in our password. And this is the Opsera portal. We have navigation links on the left, and today we're going to be working in the tool registry. So this is our tool registration user interface. We're about to add 4 tools. Before we do, it's worth noting that at Opsera, we steer clear of the community-driven plugin model due to its potential pitfalls. We've seen organizations face significant challenges when the developers behind certain plugins stop maintaining the plugins. This lack of ongoing support can lead to significant operational disruptions. We have over 90 deliberately engineered Opsera-maintained integrations. These integrations are used to populate a shelf of tool registrations that can be used by Opsera going forward. Much of the work we're about to do is typically done during initial platform onboarding. One of our customers actually found during this tool registration process that they had many superfluous instances running. They were actually able to boil 140 tool instances down to under 40 instances. Okay, the first tool we are going to configure is our GitHub. So our automation is going to need access to your code. We're going to do that through the GitHub tool registration. We're going to say new tool. We're going to search for GitHub, and we're going to say let's register a GitHub account. In here, we're going to name it. Let's call it fulfillment. We can also set up access controls here using our RBAC system to decide who, or to define who can see the pipeline or the tool, who can use the tool, who can modify the tool, all of those things. For now, we'll just leave it with the defaults and we'll say create. So for GitHub, we're actually going to use the OAuth approach to the connectivity. This is kind of 2 parts we'll use to set this up. First, we have to register the Opsera GitHub application with GitHub. And after we do that, we can use OAuth to establish that connectivity. So we'll hit this button first. We have a little description here. Use this button to register the Opsera GitHub application with your GitHub instance. This is a prereq for the OAuth authentication. We're going to do this. It's going to bring us over into GitHub where we'll configure the application. I'm already logged in, so I don't have to do that. We are in GitHub now, configuring the Opsera GitHub application. I'll say configure. I'm going to give it which account to use here. I'm going to use my Opsera eSlat account for this. And now there are some things I can set up and configure. We're going to take the defaults and say install and authorize. I have to use my key, and that's it. We've configured where we've installed that application into GitHub. Now we can use the OAuth to establish that connectivity between Opsera and GitHub. So we'll use the OAuth button. It says we are good to go. Now we can come back here and check out our tool. So I'm in the tool registry. Here's the tool that we just created. At this point, I can go into connection and I can test the connection. I can say test connection, and it comes up with 200 connections succeeded down here to the bottom right. And this pattern you'll see in all of our tools that we register, or we establish connectivity, and then we can check it with this button. So if we go over to GitHub, now if we go into settings and then applications, we'll see we now have the GitHub application is here. Authorized GitHub apps is going to show Opsera GitHub has been authorized, and I can revoke it. So we just showed that connectivity worked. Now I can say revoke. Now we've just revoked that access. If we go back to our tool and we retry the connection, sure enough, connection failed. We're not able to get there. So we'll go ahead and hit the green button again. We'll go ahead and authorize again and get that back up. Now if we try the connection, we succeed. So we're all set. And that is the first of the 4 tools that we're going to register, GitHub. The next tool we're going to register is Jenkins. So we'll say new tool. We're going to register Jenkins. We're going to use Jenkins to do the build of our node code to make that container. We're going to name it fulfillment. We're going to leave the RBAC to the default, and we are going to create that. And now here's where we set up that connectivity. We're going to go ahead and put our URL in for our Jenkins. So here we're pasting that in. We'll go ahead and use admin as our Jenkins user ID. We will paste in the admin password, and we'll save that. It goes ahead and tests the connection, and there's our 200. So there is our Jenkins tool set up in the registry. The next one we're going to do is our AWS account. So fulfillment fulfillment, this portfolio is going to start with node code. It's going to create a container, push it to the EKS or ECS, Elastic Container ECR, and then deploy it with Argo to EKS. So we need cloud credentials to do that. So we have to register an AWS account with Opsera. So we'll say new tool, AWS, we'll give it a name, fulfillment, we'll create that. And now we'll give it our AWS credentials. We'll paste in the access key ID, we'll paste in the secret access key, we'll set up our default region to East 2, US East 2, and I'll paste in my account ID. We'll save that. It's going to go ahead and test connection. There's the 200, so we're good on AWS. And next we will register an Argo CD. So Argo CD is going to be it's kind of a GitOps engine. It's going to be responsible for picking up the new container and getting it into our cluster. So we'll say new tool, Argo. We'll name it fulfillment. We'll create that. We'll put in the URL of our Argo user ID that we're going to connect with and the password that we're going to connect with. We'll save that and let's go test that connection. Connection, test connection. Here it comes with 200. Okay, so now we have 4 tools that are going to be used in that pattern. We're actually going to stop here. We are going to include SonarQube in that automation when we go forward, but we're going to let Opsera spin up SonarQube for us and register it on our behalf. So we'll show this in the next video. I hope this was useful.